Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Simon's Trading Channel. My name's Simon, and I do a daily Bitcoin price action analysis. Happy Tuesday to you all. We've got some great stuff coming up in 2 seconds. But before I just take you into that, let me remind you that I'm not a financial advisor, so this isn't financial advice. All right, so yesterday's weekly closure was beautiful and green. It was a very bullish candle. This week's weekly candle is only 2 days old, but it's not looking too bad. So I've got the weekly support line of randomness coming in at 44,000, give or take. Now let's zoom down to a daily, and I've got my support line of randomness coming in at just around 47,000. Down from there to a 4-hour, you can see here there's a support line that's coming in around about 48.5, give or take. And then on to the even lower time frames. And I'll focus on the 15-minute today, just because it encapsulates, the price action, because I do have a daily update, the price action within 24 hours or so. The current support on the lower time frames, so 15-minute hourly, is somewhere between 49.3 and 49.5. I've drawn it as a line, but clearly they're lines of randomness. They're not absolute territory divisions. So I got it coming in around about there, 49.9, but it is a bit of a band. And as you can see, since this move up occurred yesterday, Bitcoin has been putting in some lower time frame higher lows. So there's definitely buying or longing pressure coming up there. And then I've got a resistance line at the moment, and who knows, maybe it'll turn into support. But I've got a resistance line at the moment coming in around 50,250, but it is a band that goes up to about 50,500. So just bear that in mind. As you can see, it is wedging itself in. And what that says to me is that there is more buying than selling pressure. However, Bitcoin can do all sorts of funny things, even when you can see a clear trend, much like down here, if I draw a quick trend line on. And I think I did this on my channel but a few days ago. Sequence of higher lows, and Bitcoin will break wherever it wants to break. It did break below, but then it set in. And again, we did this. If you missed the video on this, then you just go back and have a look at the video. But then it set in some sideways price action. Briefly broke. This was yesterday, in fact. Briefly broke below, closed above, and then went onwards and upwards. So today, who knows? Maybe it'll do a fake out breakout. I don't know. Because I can't predict the future, but put some logical lines on which can then help you or help me to do some decent trading. So I'd probably only look to short at the moment with closures below these higher lows, and I'd have an expectation of a move down towards 49.5 or so, but in the current structure, it would be expected to then be retesting this area and bouncing. Or another possibility is that Bitcoin keeps wedging itself in, starts to close above this resistance line, particularly on an hourly or even better, a 4-hour, and then you'd expect to move up following those closures. If that did occur, then the area that I've been talking about for some time on the weekly time frame as a target, which is coming in around 52,000. And again, that's a range from about 52 to probably 55, 54, something like that. That's a weekly range, remember. That's starting to look more like a reasonable target for the not too distant future. And that would, but of course, you got to take one step and then the next. And I think at the moment on lower time frames, that step to go further up is somewhere between 50,250 and 50,500. If that doesn't occur, and if Bitcoin does start to change its formation of higher lows, maybe into lower highs, then you would expect it to get some support around about 49.5, but closures below there, and again move down maybe to 49 in the first case, and then potentially a little bit lower again down to say 48.5 seems like a reasonable target. So that's what I have in mind for maybe the next 24 hours or so. Of course, it can just go sideways, but we'll see what happens and come back to it tomorrow. I'm still within my allotted time frame, and we can quickly look at momentum indicators just to see if they give me a spin on, any likelihood of what's going on. So I'll just quickly add on an RSI at the bottom. Freely available on TradingView. Better to look for momentum on the higher time frames. So I'll just reset this chart because it's looking a bit weird. So if you look at the highs on this 4-hour RSI, you can see they are coming down. So that's declining momentum. And it is divergent to the ascending price. So there's 4-hour, there is definitely 4-hour divergence coming in, which is bearish divergence on the RSI at the moment. Obviously, that hasn't played out because price is still going up. But you got to bear that in mind. So it's going to be harder for price to keep going up when the momentum is against it. What would help this is the sideways section of price action on the 4-hour, because that would enable the RSI to cool off a bit and then get going again. Because remember, this is just momentum. That's all this is. So at the moment, momentum is declining, but the price is still going up. That suggests to me that things are slowing down. So that's a 4-hour. The daily is, hasn't pulled back yet, so there's no high to be seen on the RSI for this current move. And the weekly, again, we're waiting for the weekly to set in its next high. So really, the only significant slightly higher time frame, but 4 hours isn't really a higher time frame, is showing declining momentum, but price is still going up. All right, so that's coming up to 8 minutes now. So I think today's take-home message is Bitcoin is wedging itself into this area. I've currently got the support of 49.5, and I've got resistance around 50,500. You take care, guys. Have a great Tuesday, and I will see you tomorrow.